Hello, happy Gemini season, the best season of the year. This is when the energy really just starts to lift and shift, and we all get a lot more light and airy and fun and free and a little wild and crazy and inquisitive and curious and social and, just what's not to love about Gemini season. We're getting pumped for summer. The weather shifts. I mean, if you don't live in Miami, the weather shifts. You start getting pumped because it's starting to be light out longer. Your social calendar picks up. And your social connections just reignite. You get asked out on dates. You have a lot more fun. You play around. And that is the spirit of Gemini season. And this Gemini season is going to be interesting because we have a lot of squares happening. We currently have Jupiter in Gemini square the nodes. So whenever there's mutable squares, because the nodes are in Virgo and Pisces, there's just a lot of energy doing this because mutable is changeable and it's always moving and it's always adapting and flowing, and it's just really fluid and changeable. It modifies, it adapts, it improves. And so there's just a lot of changing parts with this energy. And Jupiter amplifies and expands and forces you to release. And Gemini, it's around your thought patterns. And so with Jupiter square the South Node in Virgo, this can really heighten a lot of your anxiousness, a lot of your stress, a lot of the overthought, a lot of your controlling patterns and tendencies. And so the way out is through the North Node in Pisces, where Saturn is currently clearing out at the last degree of the zodiac. And Saturn is putting a lot of pressure on you in your physical body and your subconscious body to release your karma and to close out these Pisces lessons you've been learning since May 2023. And so with the North Node here, with Saturn here, you can really look back to March and really what the themes were of March. In April, when Venus went back and forth over the North Node and Saturn, and really, again, the past couple months since January with the North Node in Pisces, and since May 2023, since Saturn's been here, because this is about spirituality, it is about surrender, it is about divine faith and trust, it is confirmation. It is new beginnings. It is closing and clearing out things. It is divine love. It is connecting to something higher and bigger and greater than yourself. And Pisces has the gift of anchoring in all of the cosmic codes through its physical body. So basically all of that to say this ascension and this timeline shift is happening on a very visceral, physical level because your body is what holds all of your patterns, all of your stories, all of your trauma from the past. And we are deconditioning the past currently. We're letting it all go. No more storytelling and perceiving things through the lens of the past. But what really happens is when you're expanding and you're moving into the new and you're reaching out of your comfort zone, is your body and your nervous system is on high alert for anything that is unfamiliar. And so basically this is when the activations and the anxiety and the stress and the mental noise and the mental chatter starts to try and control everything, and you start overthinking and you start processing and thinking your mind. And the mind is not your truth. The mind is not the truth. Whatever, your ego is a dick. Your mind's a dick, right? So whatever story your mind is playing out and telling yourself is not the truth. Your heart is the truth, right? And so it's learning how to come back to your heart and trust and surrender and listen to the divine guidance and the wisdom of your heart. And so, Gemini executes the heart. That's why Gemini rules the hands. This is why we shake hands, because we have white light that stems from our heart that shoots out down our arms and out our hands. This is why we shake hands when we meet people, because it's we're connecting hearts, right? This is why we have healing hands, right? And your hands are actually how represent manifestation, right? It's literally how you bring things into physical form. You can bring things into your third eye sight and vision through talking and speaking and building things out and taking action with your hands, right? Manifest comes from manus, which is the Latin word for hands. And so, the Geminis, we tell that this Gemini man here, we tell the stories. We use our hands to express our heart, right? And so there is a crackening and there's an opening of the heart with Gemini. And, Gemini really represents that time of your life when you're in early connection and you're communicating and you're learning and you're like developing a fucking personality. That's why Geminis have good personalities, shall I say so myself, because it really represents like that sandbox time of your life where you're starting to communicate and express who you are, right? And so where Gemini gets blocked is when it's not self-expressing, when it has numb emotions, and when it has a crazy mind. And when Gemini is stuck in kind of these freeze patterns and freeze states where they can't get out of their mind and they're not authentically expressing the truth of who they are, again, from the heart, and they're spiraling out internally, they cannot be in their joy and their jester and the fun and the play that makes Gemini so goddamn magnetic, right? And your heart is what makes you magnetic. And so again, that connection between Gemini and the heart is so important. And, I learned this from a Gemini, Colin Bedell, but he always said that in ancient times, you weren't allowed to have serious discussions or meetings or dialogues until the jester came out and like did his bit and did his jokes and performed, because it was in the play and in the jokes that really soften and crack open people's heart to have meaningful dialogue and important conversations, right? And that's really the foundation of connection and communication, which Gemini so brilliantly does. And so, I'm obsessed with Gemini energy. It is so whimsical. It is so expressive. It is so playful. It is so full of joy. But what blocks Gemini is when it's not in its body, when it's not grounded. And this is when it can go to cuckoo land and go to really crazy places in the mind. And so you have to learn how to come back into your body. If any of you have overthinking thought patterns, or stress patterns or anxious patterns, right? These are all things that people think are in the mind when it's actually in your body. And I was actually explaining this to Jack, who I'm doing the feminine frequency with today, like just now. I was like, you don't have mindset blocks. You're dysregulated. Like if I could just like scream that from the rooftops at everyone, it's like you're trying to overthink things. You're stressed out. You're spiraling mentally. You're operating from chaos. You're trying to mindset hack your way out of things, and you're trying to control things from your mind. And again, your mind isn't your truth. So you're operating from a place of inauthenticity. When you're actually, the mental break is actually when you address the dysregulation in your body. Like anytime I know I start overthinking things and spiraling out in my mind and internally, and I'm like thinking of scenarios, I'm having fights with people in my head, and I'm like cussing out someone internally. I'm like, that motherfucker like blew past me. Like, I don't know, whatever the fuck people do and say, the conversations in my head, which funny enough, that was going to be the title of my memoir, Conversations in My Head. But now that I've learned how to regulate myself and be grounded and at peace in my body, I no longer have crazy conversations internally. And so what I wish everyone knew is like, you're mentally not strung out and spun out, you're dysregulated. So the feeling that you're looking for and the mental break that you're looking for comes when you address the dysregulation in the body. And so through this Gemini season, we're going to have a lot of heightened activity and activations. Sun is in Gemini, amplifying this expansion. The Mercury will be with Uranus this weekend, amplifying the energies of this past weekend. I know you guys are feeling the mental energies. Just wait till Mercury conjuncts Uranus this weekend. We're going to be wild and out mentally, but it's going to be an opportunity for you to really quantumly shift your perspectives this Gemini season, because you're really just one perspective shift away from a totally new life and reality, and it's just through the lens and the viewpoint in which you're seeing people and you're seeing things and you're seeing your life. Saturn enters Aries on May 24th, which is going to be a whole new world. It's going to conjoin with Neptune. We'll have the Mercury entering Gemini. We have the Gemini new moon. And Jupiter is closing out its run through Gemini. We're not going to have the sun linked with Jupiter this year. Usually it happens once a year. It's not going to happen in Gemini. It's going to happen in Cancer. And so we're skipping the sun with Jupiter in a sign. It doesn't get to happen in Gemini. So what that means basically is Jupiter is not really getting purified in Gemini by the heart of the sun, right? That's what a cazimi is, of the heart of the sun. And so Jupiter's just kind of like amplified the mental chatter, and then it's leaving. Like, that's what Jupiter is doing. And Jupiter brings gifts and blessings, but Jupiter also requires you to release. And so as it's closing out its journey of Gemini, we're really going to have to release some of these overthought patterns, and really think about just some of like the Gemini parts of your chart and what's been happening there, as this is a big release point around what you've been learning. Geminis are great learners, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because when Jupiter enters Cancer, it's going to enter a square with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and this is going to be, I'm a little scared. It's going to be a really, it feels like an emotional explosion is how I want to say, a mental emotional explosion. I don't know. I think we're going to see this play out very collectively in a very dramatic way. And I think people are just going to emotionally and reactively lose their goddamn marbles. And so, Cancer is also about the inner heart, like how you nurture and take care of and tend to yourself, especially when you're reactive and you're spiraling out. It's a symptom you need to nurture yourself. You have to have intimacy with yourself. You have to really love on yourself. And so knowing how to down-regulate your nervous system, come back into your body and nurture yourself is the key and the way through this next phase. And plus, when you know how to do this nervous system body work, you can like literally always know how to feel grounded and safe and secure and happy and joyful and blissful, which is your natural state, by the way. Anytime anything is happening externally, like I used to be a space cadet, cuckoo bird. I can't even tell you. I mean, it was like really bad. Like I used to be really mentally bad, depressive, dissociative, like you name it, like just crazy, right? And now the fact that I can just be grounded and calm and at peace and trusting of myself and just knowing I can handle my shit and that I'm focused and I can just like take action no matter what is happening around me feels like a goddamn miracle. And I was kind of an extreme case. Like I have Moon and Gemini opposing Uranus, and I'm also ruled by Uranus. So like the Uranus energy and codes in my body were strong. My body was electricity. Like I had electricity shooting out my fingers as a kid. And when I'm in that like freezed out body state, my mental state isn't great. And then my magnetism wasn't on, right? And so the more you can ground and regulate, the more you can be magnetic, and then you can consciously expand and choose to stretch whenever you want to expand your edges and whenever you want to receive more, you're called for more, right? And so knowing how to work with the body and the nervous system is key and crucial to knowing how to get what you want, baby. And honestly, like the internal and external glow up that I've had is worth its motherfucking weight in gold. Like, truly, I was telling Jack, I was like, if you could have told a younger version of myself that I could like look how I look, feel how I feel, have the relationship that I have with myself, have the life that I have, live in a penthouse in Miami, like, and just like all I had to do was this work that I'm teaching inside of the feminine frequency, I would have like thrown all of my money at you. And so really my journey to this transformation and to become this like queen that I always knew I was inside. I don't even like to use the word queen, but like, you know, just the diamond that I always knew I was inside. The 10 out of 10 I always knew. Like, all you have to do is just this work that I'm teaching you how to do inside of the feminine frequency. And then Jack is doing 70 a high energy healing to really amplify and speed up the process. Her sessions are so freaking profound. They will literally compound over time. They are magical. And really you're going to come out on the other side of this container as an expanded, higher level version of yourself. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You can have better intuition, better relationship with yourself, trust yourself to make decisions, just be grounded through all of the things of life, like, and just not be stressed out, like cut your anxiety in half, and really just have your time and energy fucking back. Cause that's what happens. Like, being mentally spun out all the time is fucking exhausting. It is exhausting, and you deserve peace and happiness. And that's what we're anchoring inside of the feminine frequency. And it's really just perfect timing with the astrology and the transits to really do this work, to clear out the mental clutter, clear out your emotional and energetic blocks, and really just turn your inner light and your inner magnetism, that heart that wants to come out and exude and express, like, fully fucking on. So if you're down to do this work, it's going to be intense, it's going to be powerful, but you will shift inside of this container. I can't wait to see the glow ups and the transformations. And I'm with you every step of the way, as is Jack. So it's going to be powerful, and I can't wait. So if you're interested, you can check the stories. You can DM me. It's in my link in bio. There's also an option to upgrade to VIP, which which is 6 one-on-one sessions with me. You can DM me if you're interested in that. But happy Gemini season. This is the best season of the year. So go outside and freaking play is what I have to say. So sending you all my love. Bye.